Morning, everyone. Morning. Thank you for joining us today for this special occasion. My name is Russell Gross, and I'm the Executive Director of the Black Cultural Center for Nova Scotia, and I couldn't be more pleased to see you all here today. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the unceded traditional territory of the Mi'kmaq people. We are privileged and thankful to be holding this event today on land that is covered by historic treaties of peace and friendship. I'd also would like to acknowledge the existence of people of African descent in Nova Scotia for well over 400 years. May we honor and offer gratitude to our ancestors who came before us and to a land that was unknown to them, and their commitment to do better, to survive, and for perseverance. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our founding members who are here with us here today, as well as those that are watching online. In particular, our founding members are a wide cross-section of individuals that are from across the province of Nova Scotia. Dr. Joyce Ross is here with us today. Dr. Wayne Adams is here. Watching online is Senator Donald Oliver and Jolene Browning. We also take a moment to pause and remember those founding members that are no longer with us. We remember those board members and former staff members that over the 40 years are no longer with us, and their spirits we carry with us in the work that continues to go on and to happen here today. Today is as the Black Cultural Center is celebrating 40 years. The center opened its doors on September the 17th, 1983, and today we will share our journey towards the next 40 years. The Black Cultural Center has been a catalyst of change in our province and our country, starting with humble beginnings to share an important part of our shared heritage and our history. My heritage, your heritage, our shared heritage, our collective past, the wrongs and the rights, all of it is encompassed on the walls of this magnificent facility. Today is about how we can continue to share, how we can continue to listen, learn, and preserve an important part of our history for future generations. Just imagine, when I was thinking about this place and preparing for today, I was thinking about, as a young child in this very community of Cherry Brook, I had no knowledge of the richness and depth of our province's Black history. This place has created a reference point of knowledge and greater understanding that has helped a marginalized community build pride in their culture and heritage. As I was planning for today, I was reflecting on the first time that I walked in the doors during a school visit when I was in junior high, and what I really didn't know about our history. The center has become an anchor of knowledge and a safe space to learn and discover a history like none other. The history of the past, while motivating generations that have a heritage to be proud of, a heritage of great perseverance. I received an email from a good colleague yesterday and friend, and he told me that when we have this event today, not to bury the lead. So in the spirit of that advice, I would like to invite our 40th anniversary patrons, the Honorable Dr. Wayne Adams, who's a founding member, Honorable Dr. Mayanne Francis, former Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia, and our current board chair, Mr. Mervyn Broom, to come forward. I'm pleased as Executive Director of the Black Cultural Center for Nova Scotia to announce that on the occasion of our 40th anniversary, we are entering into a capital campaign. The expansion of the Black Cultural Center will include a 40,000 square foot expansion. Today we will share details of this new initiative as well as our slate of anniversary celebrations over the next couple of months. The center is the Black Cultural Center for Nova Scotia, but we want to see that elevated to be the Black Cultural Center for Canada. And we feel that this facility will help us do that. The Black Cultural Center for Nova Scotia was formed as an act of provincial legislation years ago by a charitable organization that was founded in 1977, known as the Black Cultural Society, or the long name, the Society for the Protection and Preservation of Black Culture in Nova Scotia. It was the vision of the late Dr. William Pearlie Oliver, who was our first founding member that had the vision to want to create a place that elevated and educated our history, our culture, and basically made our culture and our history a household thing, a popular thing, not a mystery. It was also through that process that we had our founding president, which was Senator Donald Oliver, who couldn't be here with us today and sends his remarks. They brought the idea of a Black Cultural Center to life. Today, the Black Cultural Society guides and governs the center. I'd like to welcome Mervyn Broom back up to the stage as chair of the board of the Black Cultural Society to share a little bit about the role of the society.
Thank you, Russell. I'm not as tall as you, Russ. Greetings, honored guests and friends. Thank you for joining us today, both online and here at the center. As the current board chair of the Black Cultural Society of Nova Scotia, the parent organization of the Black Cultural Center, I am extremely pleased to speak to you on this incredible milestone. The Black Cultural Center officially opened its doors on September 17, 1983, and forever changed how we share and remember Black history in this province. It was the vision of the late Reverend Dr. William Pearlie Oliver and a group of founding members who led the charge to build a center that would share Black history and culture. I would like to acknowledge some of our founding members who are here with us today, and some online: Senator Donald Oliver, Ms. Geraldine Browning, Dr. Wayne Adams, and Dr. Joyce Ross. We also honor those who have passed on. The center has a provincial board that represents the African Nova Scotian communities across the province. Each year, the center sees well over 12,000 visitors through our doors to honor our history. Known internationally, the center has grown from its roots to become a true destination of Black culture and heritage. Over the past 40 years, the center has played host to many memorable events and programs that celebrate our history, that tell our stories, and most importantly, keep the legacy of our ancestors alive. Events such as the Canada Post Black History Stamp Series, the Olympic Torch Relay, or the National Apology, all key examples of the groundbreaking work of the center. One of the key successes of the center over the years has been our people. Our dedicated staff have worked diligently to celebrate a culture that was not well known and to literally put the center on the map. And I mentioned one of the things there that is very important and special to me. And I was very fortunate. I was helping out the center for over 25 years before I came on the board. And thank you again for asking Russell and the group, having me to come on in the last couple of years. But it was the Torch event. Now, the Torch event is the 2010 Olympic Torch event that Canada held. And I have a special person that's here today, is Lori Smith, who actually called me, because I was on the board for the Canada Games, and I was involved doing a whole bunch of stuff in the community and still having to do my World Bank work. So I got a message saying, Mervyn, can you give me a call? And she left her cell phone. I said, this is serious. She's leaving her cell phone. So I called her, and then she said, Merv, there's a situation that they couldn't hold the torch event at the IWK because the H1N1. And she said, I'm wondering if the Black Culture Center would like to put it on, and how would you like being involved? I said, done deal. And Lori said, I said, Lori, done deal. I know they'll say yes. So she had to go back to the Olympic Committee and ask approval to change the torch event. So she got the approval, and she called me at 10:30 that night on November the 10th, saying it was approved, and I said, good. So I ended up starting to relay the calls. I said, game on, I'm ready to go for it. And making things short, in 5 days, we were able to get approximately 2,000 people. And out of the 2,000 people, 700 people. And that's with Russell, Dr. Henry Bishop was here then, and myself. And we drove it. And it was very, very special because on November 18th in the morning, it was all kicked off, everything was all set up and everything else like that. And at the end of it, I had one individual, was an older man, who came up, and he had tears in his eyes. And he said he was homeless. And I said, I never ever thought I'd be involved in something like this. The children who were there, they were excited. They knew something special was going on. Because everyone was all clapping and baking and going on, so they were joining in too. And to see that there, it was extremely, extremely special. And so, in saying, the Olympic Torch Committee sent out an email, a letter, to the center indicating that it was one of the best torch events worldwide. They were saying that they were worried about the children because they always had certain situations, and at the end of the day, it went perfect. So that was very memorable, and it would stay in my mind for such a short time. But to call and talk to Russell and Henry, and they accepted it just like that. And that's part of the core, as he was saying, about the staff and the people, the founders. They have that spirit of getting in and getting the job done when it needs to be. In closing, I would like to recognize the current staff under the direction of our Executive Director, Russell Groves, for his dedicated leadership in guiding us forward through the next phase of our growth and our facility expansion. As we celebrate our 40th anniversary and embark on a major capital campaign, I seek your support as friends and community members to make this vision a reality. We did this 40 years ago, and it's time to do it again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mervyn, for those wonderful remarks. I'm grateful for the long-time support that you've provided to the Black Cultural Center, not only as during your time as an employee of Royal Bank, but in your service and volunteering for the organization to eventually becoming a board member. It's much appreciated. As part of our 40th anniversary, as mentioned earlier, we're going to be hosting a series of events that are going to kick off on the 14th of September. Today I have with us one of our community partners, one of our strong partners that we're so fortunate for, and that is the Halifax Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to call upon Becky Davison to come up and talk about our kickoff event on the 14th of September.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Becky, and I'm very excited to be here on behalf of the Halifax Chamber of Commerce. The Black Cultural Center is a remarkable organization and a strong pillar in our community, dedicated to preserving the 400 years of rich heritage and history of the Black culture in Nova Scotia. The Chamber has been working hard, developing and executing our own DEI, diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusive plan to create a more inclusive and diverse business community in Halifax, in partnership partnering with the Black Cultural Center and education is a big part of that, so we're very happy to be here today. And we're very grateful to have the opportunity to help you kick off your capital campaign and the 40th year anniversary. And we are very excited that we have luncheon featuring keynote speaker and honorary Black Cultural Center member, investor, writer, and former dragon of CBC's Dragon Den, Wes Hall, coming to speak. This event is going to be happening September 14th at the Westin Nova Scotian. And I will say that Josh and Naya are with me today, and they've been working really hard with Russell to put together this event. We have over 250 people coming, but we're going to try and fill the room, and all the proceeds of that event will go towards this event. So really excited about that, and we hope to see you all there. So register quick, because the tickets are selling fast, and again, really happy to be here and be partnering on this important initiative. Thank you, Russell.
We're so grateful for the support of the Halifax Chamber and their work of supporting the Black Cultural Center. It's been a long-time relationship, and it is on those terms that the Black Cultural Center remains successful. It's the fact that we have many partners, many of those partners which are here with us today, that have over the years have worked tirelessly to help us promote, protect, and preserve an important part of our history and our shared history. Another major event that we're going to be doing is going to happen right here in the Black Cultural Center on Saturday, the 16th of September. We will host our 40th anniversary gala dinner with keynote remarks from our anniversary patrons, the Honorable Dr. Mayanne Francis and the Honorable Dr. Wayne Adams. The evening will feature a 3-course dinner provided by local catering company Opus Cafe and Catering, and music from African Nova Scotian award-winning, internationally known musical artist, Shelley Hamilton. The event will take place right here at the Black Cultural Center, and once again, that's Saturday, September the 16th. One of the things I might mention about Shelley Hamilton, she sang at the opening of the center in 1983. She heard about our celebration of 40 years and has worked with us to be able to return home to Nova Scotia. She's a native of the community of Cherry Brook, actually grew up maybe 4 houses down this way, and played in this lot as a kid, and really wanted to return that favor, full circle, that her musical career started here, and she wanted to give back, and so we're really fortunate for that. And we hear so many stories like that. So many people that drop by the center on a regular basis, or that write us or give us a call, that have had to start here. Me myself, I started here as a summer intern many moons ago and never left. But there are stories like mine all across the African Nova Scotia communities of individuals at this place held that special promise of being able to grow, to be able to learn, and to be able to flourish. And I think that is something remarkable that is an added benefit that the founders of this place, I'm sure, weren't aware of when they came up with the concept. It's more than just a place to tell our story. It's a place where we've learned to grow, and a place where we've learned to flourish. And speaking about Shelley Hamilton, she also is going to be featuring an evening of jazz with renowned artist Holly Arsenal, and that will be happening here at the center on the very next night, on Sunday the 17th at 7:30. And once again, she's given her time to ensure that event is a fundraiser for our capital campaign, so we couldn't be more grateful. So do get your tickets for both events. They're available on sale after today on our website and here at the center. A key strategic priority of the center over the last couple of years is to increase our youth participation in our programs and our services. I'm pleased to share that as part of our 40th anniversary plans and events, we've partnered with the Nova Scotia Human Rights Commission and the Delmore Buddy Day Learning Institute to host a youth summit on September the 22nd. The NIA Youth Summit will be a Black youth-led summit. Today I'm glad to have one of the members of the organizing team here with us. J. Reese Wiley, a member of the organizing committee, I'd like you to come up, young man, and share a little bit about this wonderful conference.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Jay Reese Wiley, and I'm the treasurer for the NIA Summit. I was given the pleasure to stand before you to talk about the background of this work. Let me start off by saying that I'm truly elated to be given this opportunity to talk to you all about the NIA Summit. This is the first Black student-led summit made for Black students. Can we just think about the historical importance of that, and the historical importance that holds? This is the first Black student-led summit made for Black students. A summit planned, organized by Black students. This is in cooperation with the Delmore Buddy Day Learning Institute, the Black Cultural Center, as well as the Halifax Human Rights Commission. This will take place on September 22nd and will be from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I am glad and proud to say that the NIA Summit will be taking place here at the Black Cultural Center, a place filled with rich Black history, important history, history that matters, that should never be forgotten. So as we celebrate 40 years of the Black Cultural Center, what a better way to honor that history and those who came before us than to make history ourselves, not forgetting yet reflecting, not forgetting yet moving forward with a keen sense of Black excellence. Standing on the backs of giants trodden onward in the path to greatness in which they once trotted themselves. The summit is named for Nia, the fifth principle of Nguzo Zaba, which means purpose. It refers to the collective purpose of the African, Nova Scotian, and Black communities to uplift one another and to build a future that benefits all Black people. The Nguzo Zaba was developed to reinforce aspects of African culture that contribute to building and support family, community, and heritage. Many people and groups that will be a part of the summit include Domini Awega, Eve Wedderburn, Roots of Creation, and I Move. The summit is free and will include 130 Black students from all across the province of Nova Scotia. Can we think about that? 130 Black students from all across the province of Nova Scotia, not just in Halifax, all across the province of Nova Scotia. As I close, I encourage any Black youth in grades 9 to 12 to think about coming and signing up for this amazing opportunity, what you can do on the Black Cultural Center website page. The deadline for the people that will be coming from outside of HRM and need accommodations will be September 8th. For people who do not need accommodations, the deadline is September 20th. You can also follow us on Instagram at NIA_Summit. I can't wait to see you all there at the NIA Summit, an event that you do not want to miss. Thank you.
All I can say is wow. Well done, well done. And that's the sign that our next 40 years is bright. The Black Cultural Center is honored and privileged to play a small role in that conference and hosting it and helping with the organization, but the heavy lifting is being done by the younger generation, and we're so proud of that. A large part of the work that the Black Cultural Center has done over the years has been to ensure that the history is not lost, that our oral histories and our family traditions will continue to be passed along generation to generation. Preserving our history is vital to our future. Our next guest is the Honorable Dr. Mayanne Francis, former Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia, a strong advocate for the preservation of Black history and culture. She'll speak a little bit about the role the center has played over the generations and why that's so important. Dr. Francis.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I don't know if I should come up after you're in the studio. I said, you're excellent. First, I want to acknowledge our presence in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people. And I also want to acknowledge my ancestors and all those warriors who fought for justice and equality. And I thank God for my many blessings, and I want to say that I stand on the shoulders of our ancestors. Greetings, honored guests, elders, and friends, both here at the center and those joining us online. It is my pleasure to join you today in this historic place as one of the honorary patrons of the Black Cultural Center for Nova Scotia. This is their 40th anniversary. This place has special meaning to me as a proud African Nova Scotian. For the past 4 decades, the center has played a pivotal role in ensuring that the story of Blacks that arrived in the shores of Nova Scotia centuries ago is shared. Understanding the history of the past allows us to take ownership of our heritage and to discover the remarkable bravery and perseverance that we overcome as a people. Nova Scotia is known as the genesis of Black culture and heritage in Canada. The Black communities in Nova Scotia have a legacy that spans over 4 centuries. Historically, Nova Scotia was the home to 52 historic and thriving Black communities that predate Canada's Confederation. The Black culture pays homage to these early settlers and has a mandate to protect, preserve, and promote the culture of African Nova Scotians. When the idea of a Black Cultural Center was envisioned in 1977, as you heard our CEO say, that Reverend Dr. William Pearlie Oliver and a host of founding members, it was seen as an obscure idea. However, years later, in September 1983, the center was opened as the province's only provincially mandated museum on Black history. And in fact, the center was formed as an act of provincial legislation. In the early days, the focus of the center was to gather important history, but the leaders of today soon learned that it was very important to share the history. It is in that spirit that the work of the Black Cultural Center has evaluated our culture and has sent it off to places where it is collected and celebrated. Nova Scotia is known as Atlantic Canada's ocean playground, the rugged coastline of Peggy's Cove, the vastness of the Cabot Trail, the world's highest tides in the Bay of Fundy, the majestic view of the Halifax Town Clock at sunrise, or the shorelines of Lunenburg. But did you know that peoples of African descent are a vibrant part of Nova Scotia's past? These individuals made Nova Scotia home and contributed to the fabric and success of today's province. Nova Scotia can be said to be the birthplace of Black culture and heritage in Canada. Blacks came to Nova Scotia as enslaved labor in 1782 and 1784 as Black loyalists. The Jamaican Maroons, the people that were exiled from their homelands in 1796, also made Nova Scotia home, being credited to help building the Halifax's military Citadel Hill, I should say. Nova Scotia was also the home of Chesapeake migrants of the War of 1812, as well as Caribbean immigrants in 1890. Today, these rich settlers make up the African Nova Scotia community, and today, over 400 years later, call Nova Scotia home. This remarkable past is showcased inside the walls of this wonderful Black Cultural Center. The center has provided a unique experience in chronicling the history of Black people and their impact on the building of the society of this province and country. Over the years, the landscape of sharing the history and achievements of African Nova Scotians has grown. From the little-known history, knowledge of past leaders, and icons such as Viola Desmond and William Hall. Personally, I was not living here in 1983, but when I moved out of New York City and back here and heard about this, I kept saying, gee, that's exciting. That makes plenty sense. And so my heart has always been with the Black Cultural Center. And I must say that I started speaking here many years ago, and I'll give you the current time, 2017, and then in 2018, my big speech talked about Viola Desmond. And you know Viola Desmond's history is here. And it was Viola Desmond who I freed, who was wrongly convicted for sitting in a whites-only section in I should say, in a theater that was prejudiced against Black people. You're not allowed to sit in certain areas, you have to sit someplace else. She sat in a section because she couldn't see. She wanted to sit there so she can be closer to the theater. But anyway, I have a keynote speech to deliver to you next month, so I'm not going to go into more detail. However, but I am going to say that I also get deeply moved too, because I was born and raised in Whitney Pier, Cape Breton. Yahoo. And when I come in here and I also see the history of some people who have done exceptionally well in history from the pier in here as well. And also currently I am downsizing, I would say, my history and make sure I give it away for my history in terms of my last 30 years and so. And I'm looking for things for the Black Cultural Center. And in fact, when I finished my role as Lieutenant Governor, I did give some things here to this place. It's important. Our history is extremely important. And I was saying that to a young man right here, to teach a young person. I said, you have a history. And over here, I said, I want your father's history. That is so important. I said, you need to write that story. I'm going to be after you all the time to write your father's story. So I think our Black history is extremely important to everybody. And I don't want it not to happen. So in closing, I'm going to say that this year, during the Center's 40th anniversary, they have so much to be thankful for in the way in which they have shared the remarkable history of our ancestors and provided a space to gather and share and educate. And I look forward to the expanded facility to further the work that has begun decades ago and encourage you to support this important movement. As the center moves forward towards 40 more years, I wonder will I be here? Yeah, 40 more years. Think about it. I'm only 10 years old. As the center moves towards 40 more years, we are grateful for the work which has been done to protect, promote, and preserve an important part of our history, the history of the fabric and diversity of our province. And I can't wait to see what is next in the evolution of sharing Black history. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Francis. And I must say that while Dr. Francis was in office as our Lieutenant Governor, she was very supportive of the work that we've done here at the center, and most importantly, preserving and sharing our history. And prior to that, in her role with the Human Rights Commission, she also was a familiar face here at the center, and we're so grateful. Moving forward with the monumental task of our capital campaign and expansion, we are faced with the reality of needing to fundraise funds. Our fundraising goal for this expansion is $40 million. Just imagine that when this building was built in 1983, the budget for this building was $1.25 million. 40 years later, it's $40 million. To achieve this goal, the Black Cultural Society recently launched the Black Culture and Heritage Foundation of Canada, a fundraising foundation with ideals to support the capital expansion of the center and also to be forward-thinking and to support Black-led organizations in culture and heritage in the future. Joining us today is our anniversary patron, the Honorable Dr. Wayne Adams, who is also the chair of the foundation, and he'll share some details. Dr. Adams.
Thank you very much, Russell. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. That's a good response. Honorable guests, our new MLA, Reverend Dr. Ross, friends all, Your Honor. Francis, you did a splendid job. I want to hear more. It's indeed a pleasure for me today to join with my colleagues here at the first and largest museum dedicated to Black history and the African Nova Scotia legacy in Canada. The Black Cultural Centre has meant a lot to me across the years, from a young founding member in the early 1970s of the Society to becoming an employee. Have been seconded by the Centre from my job in the civil service in 1983, and I came here for a couple of years to help with, would you believe, fundraising. And we're still raising funds. It takes me a long time. As you know, the Centre has had a mandate since its inception, and you've heard it many times, and it's worth repeating. In fact, it must be repeated. To protect, preserve, and promote the important history and culture of Black people in Nova Scotia and certainly across Canada. It is in the interest of perpetuating that mandate that the Centre embarked upon creating a capital foundation. For 40 years, the Centre has depended on provincial and federal governments for operating capital and project funding, respectively. This funding, while appreciated, will not permit any long-term planning for any new initiatives and expansion. To address the recognized potential and to grow our visitor base, we do have a great deal of potential. Our visitor base has been growing, and right now we're at the point of being cramped. The man whose dream was this Black Cultural Centre, the late Reverend Dr. W.P. Oliver, dreamed again in 1985 when he told me about the need for a grand hall to accommodate activities in the larger Black community and a theatre for the performing arts. Within an expanded Black Cultural Centre was his plan. In fact, he had a set of plans drawn up that he handed to me when I was working here at that time. He said, "This is for the future. Make sure it happens." Well, I know he's looking down today and realizing that the set of plans he gave me were much smaller than what we have here today. The administration of the center and its parent body, the Black Cultural Society, along with interested and supportive stakeholders, decided that additional channels of financial support were now required to bring the latest dream alive. So in August of last year, the structure was put in place, and today we are happy to tell you that we have established the charitable foundation, officially registered, as you heard, the Black Cultural and Heritage Foundation of Canada. With the new foundation, we now have the instrument to solicit and channel funds from the private sector, as well as from members of our general society. The foundation will facilitate the funding of new major capital projects, such as the immediate growth and expansion of this Black Cultural Center by 40,000 additional square feet, which will accommodate a grand hall, a theater for the performing arts, and room for more artifacts and displays. Our immediate capital challenge, as Russell told you, is a goal of $40 million. So we'd appreciate some checkbooks being opened here soon. But I am pleased to tell you that our feedback so far has been very positive. We are optimistic we'll reach our goal of $40 million. So 40 years down, 40 at least to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those wonderful words, Dr. Adams, and for stepping up to volunteer your time in being the chairperson for the foundation that will guide our fundraising efforts. I also would like to take this opportunity on the heels of talking about the foundation to acknowledge our first initial gift of $500,000 was recently donated by Mr. Greg Keating, local businessman, longtime supporter of the center and honorary member. We're grateful for the support of the Keating family over the last 40 years and the support of his father, the late Charles V. Keating, who also was an honorary member of the Black Cultural Society. And we couldn't have started this process without their initial support, so thank you very much. Having a vision to expand the center has been a long-time dream. As Dr. Adams had mentioned, it was echoed in the walls here for decades of doing this, and the question became, why now? And the answer to that is, why not now? When we look at our history, when we look at our culture, when we look at the fact that literally here in this space, we're out of room for artifacts that are coming in, the new stories and history that are being shared and being researched, it's vital that we have a place to be able to showcase, highlight, and share that information. And so when we look at our leadership of 40 years ago, I'm sure they didn't imagine that we would be at this place today 40 years later, as the idea of a Black Cultural Center was so unique. Today that vision is brought forward in what we see here. But of course, in all of our journeys and everything that we do, as mentioned earlier about all of our partners, this vision wouldn't be a reality if it wasn't for allyship of the greater community. And if it wasn't for our good friend, Troy Scott of T.A. Scott Architecture and Design, who took the time to hear our thoughts, hear our desires, our dreams, land us sometimes in reality of what could be done or what couldn't be done, but to come up with a wonderful design and a plan forward for this vision to expand the center. So today we have Troy Scott with us, and he's going to share a little bit about that vision.
Well, thank you very much, Russell. I appreciate all the thanks. And in the end, no project like this no vision is possible without a large team to work with. We've had so much input from Russell and his team here, and then my team at the office as well, and I brought 5 of my team members. I have with me Jake Baha'i, Buddha Alzir, and Angela Tolley. These are teams that will be taking this, developing this design, and executing the project eventually. And so, it has been just an amazing process to have the privilege to work with this community, and we've been working with this community also over on the Acoma lands, and it's just been one of those things where it's humbling to understand that the community's prepared to put this kind of trust in our team. So thank you very much. We've been working with the Black Cultural Center and Russell and his group for about 1.5 years, and we've been developing and working through the plans on, going through this older building and figuring out how we were going to expand, and just realizing that there just was no space to put artifacts to deal with humidity issues and items like that. So it became evident very early on doing feasibility that we were going to need to expand and do an addition. And then it became, well, where do you do that? And how do we do that? And what is cable? So part of it is going to be an ask from the city to hopefully at some point give us a sewer system. I'll throw that in there. But ultimately, the vision was that this had to be front and center. It had to be stepping forward, and the building almost does that. And it's kind of that symbol, hopefully, for the community that it is always moving forward, and that we have created this volume diamond space that is lifted and held and is ready to move forward. And that's kind of our vision for the iconic feel of the space. And as you'll be passing by, it bookmarks and expresses entrance into the community. And so we have designed the facade so that it will be a masonry facade, concrete, all of those kinds of structures that call on the history going right back to the Maroons and the start of the masonry and construction installations that seem to have thrived in this community. And so none of our buildings are possible in Halifax without the community here. So it's a big piece in our industry for sure. And so, we've gone through our design, and our office are accessibility experts, and this is what we do every day. We have looked at this space and how we design so that universal access is barely noticed, that it works for all body types and sizes, and so we're working through these kinds of projects to make sure that every person gets that opportunity to have the same experience. So theater spaces are very difficult for those kinds of things, and in fact we've had an opportunity to attempt to help Acadia University with one of their theaters we did plans for one that was just so many multi-layers. It was a very humbling experience to see how you would approach that. So when we got the opportunity to design a theater from scratch, it was just an amazing opportunity and experience. So we continue to look forward to this opportunity, the potential to bring in many environmentally friendly aspects to the building and the way it will function. And we were working with the building automation through Black McDonald and our engineering team on the project. So, this project is going to showcase this community, and it's going to continue to chronicle that story. And this is many thanks to be included in that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Troy, for your work and dedication in seeing this vision become a reality. As we bring this program to a close, I would like to take this opportunity to, of course, thank the current staff, Riel Williams, Carrie Beals, Brandy Whitford, Roland Williams, and our summer interns, Celeste David and Kamara Izzard, for their work and dedication, because, you know, each summer we see thousands of people through the doors here, and if it wasn't for those individuals that I just mentioned, we wouldn't be able to operate at the level that we do. As we close out today, I want to share with you a brief video, and I'll ask you to take a look at the screens in a few moments. That is a slideshow of our past 40 years and some of our events. And I also wanted to acknowledge the fact that, you know, when we talk about allyship, when we talk about partnership with the organization and how that moves forward, I'm going to put a few people on the spot here today and share the fact that we're so grateful for the support over the decades from the Nova Scotia government, from the Government of Canada, from our municipality and Councillor Hensby. So great to see the newly minted Preston MLA Twyla Gross, who was also a long-time board member just until recently. So, you know, our loss here, but the province's gain.
And my first job was at the Black Cultural Center. I was here for the official opening on September 16th, 1983.
There you go. Also, would like to acknowledge our friends with the Black Business Initiative. They were strong supporters in our refresh project that we did in 2011 to really beautify this place. And it's time for a new refresh, so let's talk. Our friends at RBC Royal Bank, you've always been there with us, our bank of choice from day one, and continues to be the same today, and thank you for that. And of course, our good friends with the RCMP, and Commanding Officer Dennis Daly, and thank you so much for being here today and your continued support. So let's take a look at the video presentation and look back at some of the events that we've had over the years. Following that, there'll be a brief reception in the back, and you're welcome to stay around and chat. And once again, thank you to all those that have spoken today, Dr. Adams, Dr. Francis, Mr. Broom. Young man, our future is in good hands. I look forward to the conference that we have coming up, and I just wish that I could turn back the hands on the clock so I could be a youth to attend. Dr. Ross, if I could call upon you to say grace for us.
You can all stand for grace. Good afternoon to all of you. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be able to be here to do this small practice afternoon and to know 40 years ago, and we're still standing. And we're looking forward to great things to come. So let us pray. Our Father and our God, we just come before you this morning because we are so gracious for the success that has taken place in this cultural center. The first 5 years was hard years of dedication work, but through commitment, we became a reality, and we are here today because of that. We are so looking forward to the future plans and what's going to happen, and we know it will take place. All we have to do is put our trust in God and lean not on our own understanding and acknowledge Him, and He will direct our paths. So as we come to receive the refreshments that has been prepared for us, we want to thank you, Lord, for your abundance, because all good gifts comes from you. So we thank you, Lord, as we can fellowship and talk about what has happened here this morning and be able to share some refreshments and to know how great and how good you are. We serve a mighty God, and we want to thank Him for what is happening here this morning and what's going to happen in the future. And thank you for the fellowship and the refreshments that has been provided for us this day. In your name I pray. Amen.